There's a new camera in town, and this time it's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. With an almost 5 times bigger screen and a better, larger 1-inch sensor and 4K 120 frames per second video capabilities, it is without a doubt a huge upgrade over the previous version. But in this video, let's see what it can do and if it's worth its $519 price tag. And as we take a look at what's in the box, a quick disclaimer: DJI sent me the pre-production model for testing. Thank you, DJI, but the video is not sponsored by DJI, so you will definitely hear also the things I don't like about the Pocket 3. So what I have here is the so-called creators combo, and if it's your one and only camera, it's totally worth it to pay the extra $150 to get additional accessories. In the box you'll find this beautiful pouch that seems weatherproof. Inside it, a tiny Pocket 3 camera, fully plastic with occasional rubber parts. It feels very good in hand and seems well built too. You'll also find an extension adapter to which you can add this little tripod. Super handy when filming yourself, especially with the new Active Track 6.0. You'll also get a similarly looking thing, a bit bigger though, and it's an external battery. DJI Mic 2 transmitter, windscreen and a clip magnet for when you need improved audio. And besides the charging cable, you will get this case to store your camera in the pocket or bag safely, but inside it, as with the previous versions, you get a wide-angle lens which attaches magnetically. And on the left side you can see how the shot looks like with the normal lens, but on the right side the shot is with the wide-angle lens. In the creator combo you will not find the transmitter module anymore because the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are already built in the Pocket 3. Before we deep dive into all specs and video examples, I must warn some of the potential users of Pocket 3. If you're a beginner and know nothing about the cameras or filming, let me assure you that this thing is dead simple and will make your vlogs or adventure videos look fantastic with a simple flip of a screen and pressing record. It has so many smart beginner-friendly features prioritizing your content creation that you can't screw it up, I'm telling you. So keep watching and see what it can do, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names and numbers that are coming up next. On the other hand, with features like Dlog M, 10-bit color and 4K 120, the more advanced users can easily take this camera and get professional looking, stable and color gradable footage. Okay, let's take a look at that big 2-inch rotatable OLED screen which has richer color details and higher contrast. Once you flip it, the camera turns on. You can flip it back vertically for either vertical shooting or to turn it off. Obviously it is a touchscreen and handling is really easy. You can dig deeper in the menu or simply swipe on the screen to access shortcuts or press directly on the screen. You can also use the joystick to pan and tilt or zoom, as well as press it twice to center the camera or 3 times to turn it to yourself. You should expect nothing less than high quality from this camera during the daytime. With a pretty good dynamic range, it will handle situations where you're shooting even against the sun. Obviously it gets trickier if you shoot in low light, like indoors or at night. Even though my expectations were quite low, the actual results surprised me a bit in a positive way. The footage came out a lot cleaner than I expected, and even at night with very little light, the footage is totally usable. The lower the frame rate, the less noise you're gonna see, so don't shoot slow motion at night. Shooting under 30 frames per second will also allow you to use a Dlog M color profile, which allows for higher dynamic range. Obviously there is noise and quite a lot of it where there is too little light, but as I said, footage is still pretty usable. Generally there are several shooting modes ranging from ability to take photos, shoot videos, slow motion and time-lapse. We will talk about photos later, but the difference between videos and slow motion is in frame rate. When shooting slow motion you can shoot 4K 120 frames per second, which is more than 4 times slower than real life, or shoot 8 times slower at 1080p and 240 frames per second. But when shooting in normal video mode, you get 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60 frames per second and can choose between several color profiles that I'll cover in the next part. By the way, the last 3 frame rates can also be slowed down, just not as much as 120 frames per second. And regarding the autofocus, Pocket 3 is pretty quick and accurate. It nailed all my test shots and tracked the subject with ease. First of all, this camera has a 10-bit color, which is a big deal as you can easily color grade your footage per your liking if you shoot in Dlog M color profile. There's also an HLG profile for great dynamic range and effortless color grading. Pocket 3 also offers things like natural skin tone, meaning it will automatically detect and recognize a face if there is one in a shot, and automatically prioritize the exposure so that the skin tone looks the best. For more professional shooters, go with the pro settings and you have access to just all settings like shutter speed, ISO, white balance, etc. And this is where a magnetic and the filter set comes in handy so that you can get the right exposure with your preferred shutter speed. There's also Glamour Effect 2.0, which supposedly smoothens the skin, makes the dark circles less visible and so on, but judge for yourself. One of the clips is with and the other one is without Glamour Effect. I honestly don't remember which one is which now, but to me, they both seem pretty similar. Perhaps I needed to tweak some settings a bit more. As mentioned previously, this camera can shoot at impressive 4K resolution at 120 frames per second. There are a few limitations with this mode though. One, it does not record sound when shooting slow motion, so if you later want to speed it up to normal speed, you still will not have any sound. Two, you don't get the Dlog M or HLG color profiles, so no fancy color grading with your slow motion footage. And lastly, active track is not supported in this frame rate, so you'll have to rely on your manual gimbal skills to track the object. If you don't necessarily need that 4x slow motion, I recommend shooting in normal video mode at 4K 60 frames per second. This allows you to use the Dlog M as well as active track. You'll have an audio recording and you can still slow down the footage at least 2 times. One of the things that surprised me a lot is how incredibly stable the footage is. With its 3-axis gimbal mechanical stabilization, you can easily go for a run, film yourself, and we'll see virtually no shake or weird wobbliness in the footage. And if you want to have an extra smooth footage, shoot in slow motion and enjoy the footage. Osmo Pocket 2 had Active Track 3.0, which was already really good, but Pocket 3 comes with Active Track 6.0, which includes face auto detect and dynamic framing. 6.0 uses both the mechanical gimbal stabilization as well as intelligent tracking algorithms. In this test shot, you can see me moving the camera like a maniac and it still perfectly tracks my face, keeps it in the center, and it is in perfect focus. This is thanks to face auto detect mode and the face is recognized automatically. If you don't want the face to be in the center, you can simply use the gimbal to make the right position, and thanks to dynamic framing, the camera will keep your face exactly where you want it without using the little joystick. There are several ways of recording the audio. You can either use the built-in mics, and there are 3 in total, or use a wireless microphone transmitter. Luckily, the Pocket 3 has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module, unlike previous models where you needed a separate module. This allows you to connect to external microphones and be further away from the camera if needed. And so guys, this is how the audio sounds with the Osmo Pocket 3 microphones with arm's length and all 3 microphones being on in outdoor environment with a little bit of background noise. And this is how the audio sounds with the wireless microphone. For the times when you need to be maybe further away from the camera, this solution is absolutely perfect. Lastly, this camera is also able to take photos in a pretty good quality. It supports both JPEGs and RAWs and shoots at up to 9 megapixel resolution. To be honest, there are no particular things I really dislike about this camera. However, I wish it had 3 improvements. First, it would be really nice if the 1/4-20 thread was already built in the main unit for tripod attachment, so you don't have to use this little adapter. Second, the mic is connected wirelessly, but it wouldn't hurt to have a 3.5mm audio jack to connect the lav mic. And finally, the gimbal is super smooth and eases in and out really well. However, if you want to use a joystick, Well, you can adjust the speed, but there is no setting for smoothness like DJI RS gimbals. So as soon as you release the joystick knob, the movement ends abruptly. Other than that, I think this little thing is an absolute rock star for beginners as well as for professionals. It covers both worlds. It's super easy to use, has full control for those who need it, but most importantly, the quality is unbelievable, and all that for just $519. This is definitely gonna be my new travel camera. Let me know your thoughts about the new DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Stay tuned for some cinematic videos with this thing, and don't forget to keep on creating.